From the moment you became aware of yourself, you've carried a quiet, persistent hum beneath your skin, a vibration that doesn't match the frequency of the world around you. It's not arrogance, it's not a desire to be unique. It's an instinctive knowing that the script everyone else is reading from was never meant for your voice. You've learned to nod along, to laugh at jokes that don't amuse you, to pretend the small talk matters. But when you're alone, the mask comes off, and you're left facing a stranger in the mirror. You've spent years trying to diagnose this feeling, calling it social anxiety, calling it chronic overthinking, calling it a personality flaw. But what if you've been misreading the symptoms your entire life? Carl Jung, the architect of analytical psychology, dedicated his career to understanding the individuals who exist in the margins of the collective psyche. He believed that these people aren't broken, they are the ones who have accidentally stumbled onto the path of individuation, the psychological journey toward becoming a true, undiluted self. This path is not for everyone. It is a high-altitude trail with thin air and sheer drops. By the end of this video, you will understand that your alienation is not a weakness to be overcome, but a certification proof that you are designed for a depth of experience that the majority will never dare to explore. To begin, we must understand the operating system of the masses. Jung observed that most people live in a state of what he called participation mystique, an unconscious fusion with their environment. They don't choose their beliefs. They absorb them from the cultural air. Their values are downloaded, their fears are inherited, their desires are borrowed. They are warm, comfortable, and fast asleep. You, however, are the one who woke up in a house full of sleepwalkers, and your presence terrifies them. To be rare isn't a mark of distinction you can put on a resume. It's a tax bracket of the soul. The cost of maintaining an authentic self in a world demanding conformity is so high that most people file for psychological bankruptcy before they even reach adulthood. It requires you to sit with discomfort, to stare into voids, to navigate without a compass. If you see yourself in what follows, stop trying to fix what isn't broken. You aren't ill. You are just becoming conscious. Thanks for watching. Sign 1. The weight of the basement dweller. Most humans construct their identity like a perfectly curated Instagram feed, only the highlights, only the light. They genuinely believe they are good people. They've never met their monster. When they act out of cruelty, they have a sophisticated system of rationalization. I was provoked. They had it coming. It was necessary. Their darkness is projected outward onto villains. Political parties or ex-partners, you cannot afford this luxury. The first sign of this rare configuration is that you have descended into your own basement. You are acutely, painfully aware of the figure that lives in the dark. Jung famously stated that true enlightenment isn't found by dreaming of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You have met your shadow. You know that beneath the polished surface lies the capacity for manipulation, for rage, for primal violence. You don't repress these thoughts, you watch them. You study them at 3 when the house is silent. This gives you a gravity that others lack. While they float on a raft of positive vibes, you are anchored in the cold, deep water of human truth. Think of the ancient warrior who was asked how he remained so calm in battle. He replied, "I am not calm because I feel no fear. I am calm because I have already made peace with the beast inside me." The average person is a house with a manicured lawn and a sealed basement they pray never opens. You live down there. You've made tea with the monster. This knowledge creates a chasm between you and the world. When someone boasts, "I could never do something like that," you don't argue, you just feel a quiet sorrow. You know that under the right circumstances, with enough pressure, everyone is capable of everything. You understand that virtue isn't the absence of vice. It's the conscious management of it. Because you have acknowledged your shadow, you possess an unshakable integrity. You are hard to offend because you recognize the shadow in the insult. You are suspicious of public virtue because you see the private vice it often masks. You aren't dangerous because you're malicious. You are dangerous because you refuse to lie to yourself or to anyone else. And in a society constructed on a foundation of comfortable lies, radical honesty is the most threatening force there is. Virtue isn't the absence of vice. It's the conscious management of it. Sign 2, the allergy to the current. Observe a flock of birds turning in the sky. There is no central command. They move as one, guided by an invisible field. This is the collective in its purest form of biological safety mechanism. To be in the center of the murmuration is to be shielded from predators. To be on the edge is to be exposed. The second sign is a visceral, almost allergic reaction to the gravitational pull of the center. When a trend goes viral, your first instinct isn't, "I want that," but "Why do they want that?" When a political narrative sweeps the nation, your stomach doesn't fill with righteous anger, it fills with suspicion. You feel a physical need to step back, to observe the mechanics of the hysteria. Jung wrote that the mass mind crushes the individual's capacity for insight and reflection. You aren't a contrarian for the clicks. That's just another form of seeking approval from a different crowd. You are a contrarian because your perception is tuned to a different station. You see the puppet strings. You see how easily people trade their autonomy for a sense of belonging. This manifests in your life as a history of strategic exits. You've left friend groups the moment the groupthink became suffocating. You've resigned from jobs that demanded you surrender your soul for a paycheck. You've walked away from ideologies the moment they demanded blind faith. People have called you aloof, arrogant, or a difficult person. Let them. History remembers Cassandra, the priestess of Apollo, who was cursed to speak true prophecies that no one would believe. She stood outside the gates of Troy and warned them not to accept the wooden horse. They called her a madwoman. They wanted the gift. You are a modern Cassandra. You see the hook inside the bait. You see the rot beneath the institution's polished floor. This isolates you. You feel like a ghost at the party, watching the living get excited about decorations you know are made of paper. You watch them worship idols you see are hollow. The mass man finds security in consensus. If 10,000 people agree, he feels 10,000 times safer. You find terror in consensus. If 10,000 people agree, your mind immediately asks, what dangerous truth are they all ignoring to maintain this fragile peace? This trait protects you. It keeps you from being swept away by the tide, but it also keeps you cold. You can't truly lose yourself in the concert, the protest, or the celebration. You are always the observer, never just a participant. This is the toll you pay for keeping your eyes open. Sign 3. Living in the future tense. This is the trait that unnerves people the most. You don't perceive time as a straight line. Jung described intuition not as magic, but as the unconscious mind's ability to process information so rapidly that the conscious mind only receives the final answer. A hunch, a gut feeling, a knowing. It sees the trajectory, not just the current position. You meet someone, and before the appetizers arrive, you know exactly how the relationship will end. You walk into a business negotiation and you can smell the betrayal before a single handshake is exchanged. You know what someone is going to say 3 seconds before the words leave their mouth? To you, the present is transparent. It's a seed, and you can already see the shape of the tree it will become. This makes you nearly impossible to deceive. You don't listen to the words people say. You listen to the silence between them. You hear the fear behind the bravado. You hear the envy behind the compliment. You hear the quiet desperation behind the loud laugh. It's like having thermal vision in a world of people trying to hide in the cold. But this gift is a heavy crown. Because you see the ending so clearly, you often struggle to begin the story. Why invest in the friendship when you can already feel the inevitable betrayal? Why take the job when you can already taste the burnout 3 years from now? You suffer from the curse of the final chapter. Most people are enjoying the first act, the setup, the excitement, the possibility. You're already in the theater, watching the credits roll. This detachment is often mistaken for depression. Why aren't you happy? They ask as they pop the champagne. We made it, but you're not looking at the champagne. You're looking at the hangover, the empty bottles, the quiet Sunday morning regret that hasn't even happened yet. In ancient tribes, this personality was the shaman, the one who lived on the edge of the village, communing with the spirits of what was to come. They were feared, respected, and kept at a distance. In the modern world, there is no village edge. There's just the open plan office, the group chat, and the city street. So you are forced to walk among people who operate on sensation, what is directly in front of their nose, while you operate on intuition, what is lurking behind the veil. You are playing a game of chess where you see 10 moves ahead, and they are playing checkers, wondering why you look so serious. The hardest part? You can never explain it. Intuition doesn't translate into linear language. It's a flash of lightning in a dark room. And when you try to articulate the shape of the furniture you saw in that flash, you sound insane. Until, of course, the lights come on and everyone sees you were right all along. Sign 4. The alchemical vessel holding the contradiction. The common mind is binary. It's a toggle switch, on or off, good or bad, us or them. It seeks the relief of resolution by choosing one side and annihilating the other. The rare mind is capable of a complex state Jung called holding the tension of opposites. You contain multitudes. You are fiercely logical yet deeply intuitive. You are drawn to the cold precision of science and the warm mystery of the spiritual. You crave solitude more than air, yet you understand the mechanics of human connection better than any social butterfly. You are a wolf and a shepherd in the same skin. This isn't confusion, this is completion. Jung believed the goal of life wasn't perfection, a sterile state with no rough edges, but completeness. To be whole, you must house your own contradictions without letting them tear you apart. Think of a diamond. It is formed under immense heat and pressure, two opposing forces, and the result is a structure of perfect, transparent clarity. You are the diamond. You can feel the fire of anger and, in the same instant, observe it with the cold detachment of a scientist. You can stand in the middle of a hurricane and hold a core of absolute stillness. This drives people crazy. They want to put you in a simple box. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Are you a skeptic or a believer? Are you tough or sensitive? And you want to look them in the eye and say, yes, I am the paradox. And because you are a paradox, you act as a mirror. When an insecure person meets you, your self-containment reflects their insecurity back at them. When a fake person meets you, your authenticity becomes an accusation. You don't have to say a word to unsettle them. Your mere existence is a disruption. This ability to hold opposites grants you a power that is almost extinct, the power of genuine nuance. While the world screams in binary on social media, choosing sides in manufactured tribal wars, you stand in the middle, seeing the sliver of truth in each argument and the mountain of lie in both. You understand that the criminal is also a victim of a broken system. You understand that the tyrant was once a frightened child. You don't collapse the wave of complexity. You learn to surf it. But this is exhausting. It takes a massive amount of psychic energy to hold two opposing truths in your mind without snapping. F. Scott Fitzgerald put it perfectly. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time, and still retain the ability to function. Most people function by amputating half of reality. You function by carrying the unbearable weight of the whole. Sign 5. The hunger for the primal matter. Small talk isn't just boring to you, it's a low-grade form of torture. It feels like your brain is being slowly suffocated in a bag of cotton balls. You don't care about the weather. You don't care about the game last night. You don't care about the latest celebrity scandal. You are ravenously hungry for what the alchemists called the prima materia, the original substance, the root, the core. You want to know what someone is most afraid of. You want to know what kept them awake at night when they were 7 years old. You want to talk about the nature of consciousness, the architecture of power, the reality of death, the possibility of a soul. This intensity is your default setting. How many times have you heard the word too? You're too intense. You think too much, you need to relax, but you cannot relax into the shallows. You are a deep-sea creature. You are built for the crushing pressure of the abyss, not the sunlit surface. This is why your circle is small and getting smaller. You cannot sustain relationships based on surface-level maintenance. You would rather sit in complete silence with someone who understands this than chatter for 3 hours with someone who doesn't. Jung noted that as a person individuates, they often shed relationships. It's not cruelty, it's a matter of frequency. Imagine you are tuning a radio. Most people are broadcasting on FM 100.5, the pop station, loud, clear, accessible to everyone. You are broadcasting on a shortwave frequency that requires a specific, sensitive receiver to pick up. When you try to lower your frequency to match theirs, to pretend you care about the fantasy football league, you feel your soul begin to atrophy. You feel the persona, the social mask tighten like a vice until you can't breathe, so you stop trying. You make peace with the silence. You realize that 1 hour of conversation with a mind that matches your frequency is worth 1,000 nights lost in the noise of the crowd. You are a gold miner in a world that is perfectly happy with plastic. Sign 6. The sacred malady, the crisis of vertical meaning. This is the sign that usually drives people to a therapist's couch. And unfortunately, a conventional therapist, trained to help people adjust, often makes it worse. They try to medicate away the symptoms to help you fit into the very society that is making you sick. But Jung observed, I have frequently seen people become neurotic when they content themselves with inadequate or wrong answers to the questions of life. You aren't suffering from a simple chemical imbalance, though it may feel like a chemical fire. You are suffering from spiritual starvation. The 6th sign is that you cannot survive on bread and circuses. The average person is reasonably satisfied with a decent job, a decent partner, a decent house, and a decent 2-week vacation. Their existential hunger is easily filled by the standard menu. Yours is an abyss. You look at the successful life, the promotion, the mortgage, the new car, the accumulation of status symbols, and you don't just feel bored. You feel a wave of existential nausea. You find it terrifyingly empty. You have a neurosis of the soul. If your life lacks a transcendent purpose, a deep burning why, you begin to wither physically. You lose energy. You become lethargic. You might even get physically ill. This is your psyche going on strike. It is screaming, I refuse to participate in this farce. I will not spend 40 years moving numbers from one spreadsheet to another just to die comfortably in a house I own. Society calls this being maladjusted. Jung called it the call to adventure. The old myths tell of the hero who falls into a sickness or a deep depression until he accepts the quest that is calling him. You are that hero. Your symptoms, anxiety, the restlessness, the deep dissatisfaction are not the disease. They are the summons. You are the person who quits the secure job with nothing lined up because your soul was beginning to rot. You are the one who walks away from a relationship that looks perfect on paper because it felt like a gilded cage. You destroy the good to search for the true. This makes you a threat to the status quo. The status quo relies on people being quietly content with mediocrity. You are the error in the code because you demand meaning from a system that is only designed to provide utility. Do not numb this hunger. Do not drown it in alcohol or TikTok scrolls or retail therapy. That hunger is not your enemy. It is your compass. It is the only thing pointing you toward the one thing that will ever satisfy you, the creation of your own myth. Sign 7, the architect of meaningful accident synchronicity. The final sign is the one that defies the materialist worldview, but if you are this personality type, you know it better than you know your own name. You experience synchronicity. Jung coined this term to describe meaningful coincidences, events that are linked by meaning, not by cause and effect. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in a decade and your phone buzzes, it's them. You are wrestling with a life or death question, and a book you've owned for years falls off the shelf, opening to the exact page that holds the answer. You have a dream about a specific symbol, and the next day you see that symbol spray-painted on a wall in a city you've never visited before. To the average person, these are just weird coincidences. They shrug and move on. To you, they are a language. You live in a dialogue with reality itself. You understand that the inner world of your psyche and the outer world of matter are not separate. They are two sides of the same coin. Unus mundus one world. Because you are on the path of individuation, because you are shedding the false self and aligning with your true nature, the universe seems to conspire to support your journey. This isn't narcissistic exceptionalism, it's alignment. When you are on the wrong path, the one that isn't yours, you face friction. Doors slam shut, keys break, systems fail. The world feels like it's actively fighting you. But when you are on the right path, the path of your soul, the lights turn green. The right people appear as if summoned. The resources you need materialize. You have learned to trust this invisible current more than you trust the visible, logical maps of society. You make decisions that look insane to everyone else. Why are you moving to that city? I don't know, I just have a feeling, and that feeling turns out to be right. This is the ultimate signature of the rare personality. You have stopped navigating by the map drawn by the collective and started navigating by the stars you see in the sky of your own mind. You are no longer just a character in the story. You are in conversation with the author. If you saw yourself in these signs, you are probably exhausted. It is draining to be the one who sees the shadow. It is lonely to be the one who can't get lost in the crowd. It is painful to carry the need for meaning in a world that seems designed to distract you from it. You've likely spent decades asking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just be like them? Stop asking. Normal is just a statistical average. It is not a measure of health. In a society that is spiritually sick, being normal means you are perfectly adapted to the sickness. Jung said the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. You are that light. But a light that burns also consumes. Here is the truth you've been waiting for. You are not in pain because you are broken. You are in pain because you are resisting your function. You are trying to be a villager when you are the shaman. You are trying to be a sheep when you are the sheepdog. The pain is the friction between who you truly are and who you are pretending to be. So how do you stop the pain? You don't, you transmute it. Phase 1, the ritual death of the mask. The persona must die. You have to stop apologizing for your depth. Stop diluting your truth to make it palatable for people who have no taste for reality. If you are too much for them, let them go. You are not for them. You must become ruthless in eliminating the relationships, the jobs, and the habits that force you to wear a mask. This will feel like a death. It is a death. It is the death of the nice guy, the easygoing girl, the people pleaser. Let them die. They were never you. They were just survival suits you built when you were a child to navigate a world that did understand you. You don't need to survive anymore. You need to live. Phase 2. The integration of the predator, the golden shadow. Stop being afraid of your own darkness. Your aggression, your capacity for cold logic, your potential for manipulation, these are not sins, they are tools. A warrior without a sword is not peaceful. He is just helpless. A warrior with a sword who chooses not to draw it? That is peace. You need your shadow. You need your aggression to enforce your boundaries. You need your coldness to sever ties with toxic people. You need your skepticism to navigate a world built on deception. Bring the monster up from the basement. Put a leash on it, and put it to work guarding the gate. When you integrate your dark side, you stop being a victim. You become formidable. And paradoxically, people will begin to respect you more. They will sense you are dangerous, and therefore your kindness will finally mean something. Phase 3. The great work giving form to the fire. Jung believed that the immense energy of the rare personality must be channeled into creation. You cannot just be different. You must do something with it. You must build something that reflects your inner world. It could be art. It could be a business. It could be a family with its own unique culture. It could be a philosophy. But it must be yours. Because you see patterns others miss, you have solutions others can't find. Because you feel pain others ignore, you have empathy others lack. Because you know the darkness, you can lead others through it. Your neurosis is just unchanneled creative energy. Your anxiety is just unchanneled power. Give it a form. Write the book, start the movement, build the sanctuary. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for fame. Do it because if you don't, that energy will turn inward and consume you. You might wonder, why would nature create someone like me? Why create someone so sensitive, so isolated, so difficult? Because the collective is blind. A society made entirely of normal people who follow the rules. Blend in and ignore the shadow is a society marching happily off a cliff. History is littered with their bones. The genocides, the witch hunts, the financial collapses, the rise of tyrants, these weren't caused by outliers. They were caused by the normal, obedient majority following the herd into the abyss. You are the evolutionary brake pad. You are the one standing at the edge of the cliff, screaming into the wind. You are the one who senses the predator in the dark before it attacks. You are the immune system of the species. You are designed to stand apart from the tribe so you can see the tribe clearly. You are the mirror that shows society its own face. They will hate you for it. They will call you heretic, traitor, madman. And then, when the walls start to crumble, they will look to you for the exit. This is the burden. This is the glory. You are not alone. You are just rare. There are others like you. We are scattered across the world, quiet, watching. And we are recognizing each other. The next time you feel the sting of isolation, remember, the eagle flies alone. The crows flock together in a murder. Do not envy the crow. But knowing this is not the end. Understanding your nature is just the beginning. The real danger is what comes next. Because once you accept you are an outlier, you face a new temptation. The temptation of arrogance. The temptation to withdraw completely into your own mind and look down upon the sleepers. If you do that, you fail. You become the villain of your own story. The final test of the individuated person is not to rise above humanity, but to return to it. To bring the gold you found in the darkness back to the village, even if they don't understand it, even if they never thank you. How do you do that without losing yourself again? How do you walk through the crowd without becoming the crowd? That is the art of the magician. The eagle flies alone. The crows flock together. Do not envy the crow. If this video resonated with you, if it felt like a map of a territory you've been wandering alone for years, please hit the like button. It helps more people like us find this content here on Wines of Thought. This is only the surface. There are layers of this psychology that YouTube's guidelines make it impossible to discuss publicly. The specific mechanics of dark psychology, the precise rituals for shadow integration, the forbidden aspects of Jung's work. The algorithm doesn't want you to have the full map. If you're ready to step beyond the veil, consider subscribing and hitting the join button to access the deeper content. Most won't. That is precisely the point.